Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasvai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Serupang Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakambitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Ipa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading this evening from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized, and text number 13, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, H.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Dehinosmin yata dehe Komaram yovanam jara Tata dehantara prapte Virastatra namoyate Dehinosmin yata dehe Komaram yovanam jara Tata dehantara prapte Dhirastatra namoyate. Translation. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Everybody, please repeat after me. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport. Since every living entity is an individual soul, it is changing its body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause for lamentation. I'm just going to repeat one paragraph from Srila Prabhupada here. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober person. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. So this is the first teaching of the Bhagavad Gita regarding the soul. Every living being here in the material world is embodied with these material different elements. Bhagavad Gita says our body is composed of 8 material elements. Bhumir apu nalo bhayo kamanu udir evacha ahankara iti yame bina prakriti ashtida. 5 gross: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then the subtle material elements that comprise this body. What are they? Mind, intelligence, and ego. Srila Prabhupada says that the symptom of the soul is that consciousness. That is like the missing link, or the link between the body and the soul. What we mean by consciousness means is awareness. We have to understand, first and foremost, that we are not this body, that we are all spirit souls. Somehow or other, due to our desire to lord it over the material energy and to be separately happy from Krishna, from God, we have chosen to come to the material world. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is all compassionate, all merciful, that he allowed that desire to be fulfilled. And therefore, the material world was created. It is not his choice or his desire for the material world to be there. So the material world is part of the kingdom of God. It's like in the city of Atlanta. You have many free citizens roaming around, but there's also a jail, prison house. And that prison house is also part of the city. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So the material world is compared to a prison house. We're all criminals here, as Prabhupada would say, because we want to be separate from Krishna. So that desire was fulfilled, but then along with the desire to be happy, it's not possible. in the material world. We're like fish out of the water. Our real habitat is in the spiritual world, where life is full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Here is the opposite. The material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It is full of miseries, it is full of ignorance, and life is temporary. But the jivas, or the living entities, are spiritual by nature. And the material world, there is a stamp. It's like when you go to USPS, United States Postal Service, right? You want to write to your friend, and in order for that mail to go to reach your friend, you have to put the stamp. And then officially, it'll be stamped by the postman or the post office. So the material world is stamped with Dukkhalayam Asasvatam. It's full of miseries and it's temporary. And according to the Shastra, there are 8,400,000 species of life. Our always hoping and desiring and wishing is to be happy. That is the nature of the soul. Anandamaya Vyasa. So, according to the Shastra, there are 8,400,000 species of life. And our desire to be happy can only be fulfilled, and it will be fulfilled after attaining one of those 8,400,000 species of life. In human form of life, this is the best vehicle by which we can get out of this material world. We have one main purpose, should be to get out of this world as soon as possible. It's like you don't spend the whole time in the latrine the whole day, right? You want to get out as soon as possible. Do your business and get out. Yeah? Who would want to stay there the whole day? So, different species of life, different types of consciousness. That means our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. But if we somehow, now we're in human form of life, at the time of death, there'll be another form of body in any of these types of 8,400,000 species. Now, a dog's consciousness is not developed as that of human form of life. They're more covered up by what? By the three modes of material nature. When we say material nature, Prakriti, this is under the govern of Durga Devi. Durga Devi, she's the one who's responsible that we don't get out of this material world. She's a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. And she has trident, Trishul. That Trishul, the three, means goodness, passion, and ignorance. This is the predominating energy here in the material world. Prabhupada says there is no good in this world. Everything is bad. Even good is bad. Even good karma. You ever heard the word karma? Karma means activities that we perform, and it should be under the jurisdiction or under the prescription given by the scripture. The scripture is divided into three parts: Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. Now, Jnana Kanda means studying the scriptures, hearing from the sadhus, hearing from the spiritual master. Now, if we want to fulfill our material desire, in the scripture, the Vedas, there is a prescribed method how you can fulfill that. If you want to fulfill your desires, to be happy, because this is the goal, as we mentioned earlier, and you don't follow the prescription given by the scriptures, then the reaction is very severe, very heavy. No one gets out of here. No one is exempted from the law of nature. It's like, again, there's a law here in the city, law of man, there's a law of nature. And when we say law of nature, whose nature? Krishna is the ultimate controller. So now, in human form of life, we are responsible for all of our actions, for all of our activities. The cats and dogs, if they see a green light, they can go. If they see a red light, they can go also. They're not punishable by the police. They'll not be given a ticket. But human form of life, there is a certain rule that we have to follow, knowingly or unknowingly. It's like, let's say a child. The child also has consciousness, but not really as fully developed as a grown-up personality. Let's say up to 5 years old, Prabhupada says, you can freely give them whatever they wish, but also out of the love of the parents, they should also be disciplined, but not as much. But after 5 years old, they have to know what to do and what not to do according to the teachings of the parents. So they have consciousness, but they're not fully developed. The animals also, the trees, one of the species, the aquatics, the birds, the reptiles, the mammals, they also have soul. Huh? Now, in the, let's say the tree, the soul is there and is embodied. Extreme heat, summer, it's like right now in India, it goes, North India, plus 50, 52 degrees one day. And in Delhi, that's over 120 degrees. We're complaining, oh, Maharaj, 80 degrees, 90 degrees. What about 120 degrees? Can you turn off and put in the flight mode, airplane mode? So even in the middle of the summer, the soul cannot do anything, embodied in this tree life. How about winter time? Minus 20, minus 30. Say you go to some parts of Canada, like the Midwest, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. They're very cold there. Or you go up north. So the consciousness is there. That means the symptoms of the soul is consciousness. The child, we can develop the child's consciousness if the parents are really concerned about the children, to raise them up to be Krishna conscious, because that is the goal, to uncover our real self, to uncover our being Krishna conscious, because the most material nature is so thick that it says in the Bhagavad Gita, how is it that a person is forced to do sinful activities even though he is hesitant to do it? He knows that if he performs sinful activities, he'll be suffering, he'll be miserable. That is consciousness. He's thinking like that. But why is it that he is forced to do it? Bhagavad Gita says, out of lust only, the all devouring enemy of the living entity. So we are responsible for our action. Again, the animals, they are free from karma. They're already reaping their karma, their reaction. Only in human form of life, we are continuously molding our future. Whatever we do every day will be determined what will be our future, our next life. Now, the cats and dogs, or the animals, or the trees, or the birds, or the mammals, the aquatics, is what we call the evolution of consciousness from the aquatics, then you go to mammals or birds, insects, and so on. There's some kind of ascending. If you go from lower species of life, you go back again to human form of life. Or if you go like heavenly planets, having the body of a demigod after performing many pious activities, where over there in the heavenly planets, the sense of pleasure, sense of enjoyment is higher than the middle planetary system where we are. We are in the middle planetary system. So either you go up, you're going to come down again here. If you go down, you're going to come up again here. So this is the learning ground, the earthly planet where we are, which is also called Mrityuloka, the place of death. When you go to the heavenly planets, our 6 months is 1 day over there. So they live for a long time, but they're also going to die. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Bhunatavartinoy Arjuna. So from the highest position of Lord Brahma down to an insignificant amoeba, there is death. You know, some living entities, we all live, we all have 100 years. Prabhupada says, some living entities, they took birth at night, by sunlight, they will die. And that span of time is also 100 years for them. So that is relative. How long can we live? I know my mother, she lived up to 87 years old. That's a different generation. How about us? Maybe 80. It goes down, 70, then 60. In Kali Yuga, the Shastra says that when you reach the age of 25, 35, you'll be considered as old. And that is 100 years also. But then a bit shorter. So consciousness right now is, the soul is always pure. It never gets contaminated. But the identification of the self to be the body, that we have to clear out, that we have to get out of our consciousness. Because we think I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm old, I'm young, I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm Indian, I'm American, I'm Filipino. And these are all temporary designations. Our real identity is that we're all servants of Lord Krishna. That we cannot take it away. It's not possible. So Prabhupada gave an example. It's like sugar is sweet. Can you take away sweetness from stevia or monk fruit sugar? No, they're always sweet. Yeah. How about the water? Can you take away the wetness of the water? No. How about the fire? Can you take out the heat and light? No. So similarly, our original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. You cannot take that away, but it is covered up. Having come in contact with the material energy, Prabhupada gave an example, just like a raindrop, rainwater. So it's pure in its original state. But then when it rains, those rainwater comes in contact with the earth. It becomes muddied. Yeah? But the tendency of the rainwater to be also separated from the earth is always there. There is a certain way how we can do that, how we can separate the mud from the water. It's like Prabhupada, again, he gave an example. It's like swan They can separate milk from water. They have that ability to do. So we have to somehow purify our consciousness. The consciousness right now, we were talking with one lady, and it is true. In America, money, money, money. Money sweeter than honey. That is the consciousness. Either money or woman. Now, woman for the man is the woman. And the woman for the woman is the man.
Yeah.
You understood?
Yes.
Yeah, nice. That's right. There's nothing wrong with the opposite sex. It is our mentality to enjoy and take advantage or exploit. That is the problem. Because we're all living entities, we should see everyone in equal vision. And therefore, we have to understand that we're not this body. This is the first teachings of Bhagavad Gita. We're a spirit soul. We change our body from boyhood to youth to old age. And then the soul, at the time of death, will pass by, will go on to the next. Are we prepared to die? No one is thinking that we're going to die, right? We've seen our parents die. We've seen our children die. We've seen our relatives die. We've seen our siblings die. But we don't think that we're going to die. This is very amazing. But we're going to die someday. But we should be prepared. Because whatever we're thinking at the time of death, we will also reach or desire that whatever we're thinking. I was hearing the other day that one can have 22,000 desires in one day. I don't know how they come to that conclusion. But nowadays, medical research, they can put different apparatus into your head so they can see your brain waves. Yeah, so they fluctuates. 22,000 desires, that's a lot. But actually, we can have 8,400,000 desires, different desires. Why? How is that? Because there are many species like that, 8,400,000 species. So whatever we desire, that can be accomplished accordingly to that specific species of life, next life. So I think they're wrong. 22,000 is not enough. But a devotee should only have one desire, to be Krishna conscious, to develop love for God. And the Bhagavad Gita explains how we can do that, because everyone has to perform activities. No one can avoid not doing any activities. It'll be boring. Let's say the whole day you don't do anything, you just sleep. That'll be depressing anyway, isn't it? You have to have something. You have to get out, go for a walk, or go see your friends. So the desire should be to go back home, back to Godhead. The desire should be to purify my attachments. My attachments should be transferred to Krishna. So the message of the Bhagavad Gita is that perform your duty according to your karma, according to the reactions from the past, and according to the qualities that you achieve. And do it for Krishna. We're not all equally materially, but spiritually we're all equal. We are all having certain quota of happiness and distress. In that way, we're all different, having karma. But we all have the same goal: purify this karma, not to get another karma, Prabhupada says even good karma is bad. Because karma means activities whereby there is a reaction, material reaction. There's what you call Krishna karma. Krishna karma means performing bhakti yoga, performing pious activities like chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, coming to the temple, performing devotional service, 9 processes of devotional service, starting from hearing, chanting, remembering the name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, worshiping the deities, Archanam, Vandanam, praying to the Supreme Lord, Dashyam, serving the Supreme Lord, Sakyam, considering Krishna as your friend, and ultimately giving up everything. We should perform our activities in such a way that we are not attached to the result. Now, that is very difficult, isn't it? Whenever we perform activities, we ask first, what's in it for me? Yeah? The materialists, they will not work if there is no green box. There is no salary. But in bhakti is voluntary. We don't expect anything in return. All we want to do is to serve the Supreme Lord. That is the proper consciousness. So we're very fortunate. Somehow we have come to this human form of life. He says that this is the best vehicle from which we can get out of this material world. And we're like in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the ocean. We're in the ship. There's a favorable wind. This body is like the vehicle, the ship. And then the favorable wind is the Vedas, the Shastra. And we need an able captain of the ship, the spiritual master. So in this way, we'll be sailing very nicely. We will reach the other side. Even though it says, yeah, this material world is compared to an ocean or even a forest. There are many comparisons in this material world. When there is a fire in the forest, there's no escape. Even big animals, you cannot escape. Or let's say the ocean, how can you swim from one side to the next? But when we come to the process of bhakti, then that ocean becomes like the size of the hoofprint of a calf. It becomes short, small. You can easily cross. So our consciousness should be fully developed. We have to grow up. Growing up, not like, in size. Yeah. We're growing up. Our consciousness should be completely pure. We cannot go back to Godhead without pure consciousness. We cannot serve the pure unless we are pure. So now we're just attempting. We are just trying to be devotees. Because being a devotee is very rare. To have not any more material desires, not any more material attachments, is very rare in this world. And we have few in our movement. Not just sannyasis, grihastas as well. There are brahmacharis. It's not that only the sannyasis will go back home, back to Godhead. Grihastas also. But grihasta is the best ashram in Kali Yuga, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because you learn a lot, especially when you have children. You have to be Krishna conscious in order to make your children Krishna conscious. In order to teach them Krishna consciousness, you have to be Krishna conscious yourself. You cannot give if you don't have. If you don't have it, you cannot give. You can only give what you have. But we're very fortunate. Srila Prabhupada, he sacrificed his life at the age of 70. He came to America. He's being like having a choice either to go to London or to America. But he chose America, knowingly that because whatever America do, the whole world follows. So our Krishna consciousness movement is thriving. It's increasing every day, even though Prabhupada is gone. Physically, he departed in 1977. But the devotees were following in his footsteps, his disciples, and now our generation, because many of Prabhupada's disciples are also leaving their bodies one by one. And just recently, Vedasar Prabhu says, our Guru Maharaj left a month ago, over a month ago. And he was very Krishna conscious, very Krishna conscious. Being Krishna conscious means you are detached, but that doesn't mean you don't care. That's two different things, isn't it? You're detached, let Krishna be the controller. But you care. You care in such a way you want to help others as well. So if you know something which is good, this is a secret. Krishna consciousness is confidential knowledge. But it is our duty also to repay back Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual master to give Krishna to others, whomever we meet. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Whomever you meet, give them Krishna. Give them Krishna. Whatever, however, it doesn't matter. Whatever capacity you can have, you can do. You can do. Carry books with you, Srila Prabhupada's small books. You meet someone in Walmart, hey, you like yoga? Here, this is Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. You can talk a little bit about that or have a cookbook, because everyone now is turning into vegetarianism. Here you go, higher taste. So in this way, the more you give, the more Krishna will provide to you. The more you help others, the more your consciousness also becomes pure. We don't have any other purpose in this human form of life except to be Krishna conscious. Of course, you have family, you have to provide something to them, you have to work, but don't be too entangled. Don't desire to have more and more and more and more. Be satisfied to what you have. So in this way, you'll not be entangled in such a way. So this is the evolution of consciousness from almost covered up with the modes of ignorance. Even in human form of life, one can be covered up, not just animal life. Prabhupada says there is no difference between human form and animal life. We sleep, they sleep. We mate, they mate. We defend, they also defend. We sleep, they also sleep. What is the difference then? Difference is consciousness. Consciousness to understand the subject matter. But if you have pets at home, at least give them Mahapasad. Then their consciousness also will be developed. They become purified. It's like when we go for japa walk, whenever we see a dog, we will meet the person who's carrying the dog. Good morning. And then we'll say, go Ranga to the dog. That's probably the only time that the dog will hear the holy name, go Ranga, the rest of their life. So that makes a little change for them. And we say it in a nice way. So the person who's walking the dog, oh, what did he say? Sounds very sweet, sounds very nice, because we're smiling. But as much as possible, we try to help also the dog raise his consciousness. So do whatever you can to spread Krishna consciousness. Now that you have Krishna, give others also Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'll stop here. You have any comments or question? Yes, there's several.
Maharaj. The living entity in its constitutional form, the consciousness is pure.
Yeah, it is pure.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And somehow, even though it's so pure and it's so easily polluted, so I often think about this because these questions come up, always thinking, how to raise people's consciousness, how to raise people's consciousness. I'm just wondering if there is a shortcut. I'm quite
To
sure there
raise their
isn't.
consciousness?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how to get it back to its, the factory mode. When things don't work, you just reset to factory mode and everything works great. So my consciousness is pure, very contaminated because of all those material desires. Is there a quick fix button to reset it to a factory?
Sure.
So if you can talk about
especially when we meet a pure devotee, that can, it says, a moment's association, a pure devotee can bring you back to your original consciousness. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, propagating Krishna consciousness in that way. That's why Harinam, Sankirtan is very, very important. To the degree of our purity, when we chant the holy name, to the degree that they will also receive Krishna, cleanse their heart. Just by hearing the holy name, they will also be able to, the dormant love for Krishna will be awakened. How many stories we've heard from previous Harinam during Prabhupada's time, when they heard, now they became Srila Prabhupada's disciples, 15 years old, young boy. They heard the holy name. So to the degree that we chant in Harinam, but our daily activities from morning to when we wake up till we sleep, how we perform our daily activities, this is reflected when we do Sankirtan. And to the degree that when we perform Sankirtan and they receive the holy name in that way, they become purified. We give them Mahaprasad. Yes. Once they have, like Gulab Jamun or Rasgula, they will never forget that taste. Like in the early days also, Srila Prabhupada will make this ISKCON bullet, Gulab Jamun. He made it. Eat as much as you like. Up to you, as many as you like. Yeah. Or you give them books, Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada says, even if they don't take the book, if they touch the book at least, they're touching Krishna. That purifies them. Maybe they will not happen in this lifetime, maybe in so many lifetimes, but their journey towards Krishna has already started. To the degree that we are covered up by the modes of material nature, to the degree also that we will take up Krishna consciousness easily or later on. And no one can force anyone to be Krishna conscious. No. Prabhupada says, unless we are not disgusted in this material world, we will not go back home, back to Godhead. So to the degree that we are covered up, yes, but these are all our, you may say, our weapons. Harinam, book distribution, and prasadam distribution. That's why festivals Very, very important. When we go Ratha Yatra, see the Lord Jagannath is so amazing. For us to see the Lord, we have to go to the temple. But Ratha Yatra, the Lord will go out to see us. That's why he's called Patita Pavana, Jagannath. Radha, Madan Mohan will not go out to give their mercy, huh? To give their blessings. They have to come to the mandir, Ponce de Leon. Yeah, but Lord Jagannath, look, how many Ratha Yatras this summer? We just came from New York, over 25,000 people. The whole street, the Fifth Avenue was packed. And like sea of devotees. And others will see, he says, anyone who sees the Lord on the day of Ratha Yatra, the door of Lord Hari's, Haridwar, Lord Hari is wide open. Even the person is eating in McDonald's. Oh, what is going on here? Ah, this looks good. This is amazing. I've never seen this before. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah. Okay. Then you invite them to the Washington Square Park. Yeah. There you go. Life is changed. So, again, if they meet especially a pure devotee of the Lord, their life will change. How many devotees, or how many even non-devotees those days, when they see Srila Prabhupada, it's amazing. So we have to work on ourselves first. Work on our purification. And when you go at work, any one of you, when you go to work, they'll see there's different kind of vibration that you have. You emanate certain aura that it is not found very easily every day. And then once they see you always happy, jolly, they'll ask, hey, what's your secret? What is it that you're eating? Why you're like this? Then you start to say, well, I read Bhagavad Gita. I offer my food first to God. Then you start preaching. Yeah, you don't have to, if you can change even one person to become a devotee, guaranteed you go back home, back to Godhead. In your lifetime, in our lifetime. Huh? And you have so many in your classes also, you have many students. So that's good. Now, it could be spread. Your students, it's connection, can bring more and more and more and more. So, whatever capacity we have, whatever ability we have, if we use it for Krishna consciousness, for the service of the Lord, then we'll make some difference somehow to others. Yeah. Thank you. Any other points, question, reflection?
Maharaj,
Yes.
just little addition to what Vedsar Prabhu was saying actually.
Are you a mathematician? You're always adding. It's good. It's always adding.
Yeah. So like definitely the consciousness is polluted when we come in the material world. But then like the symptom of the soul is consciousness.
Yeah.
And that consciousness gets covered over in different 8 million.
Because you identify with the body.
Yeah.
It is the identification that is the false ego.
So that the true nature is not reflected in other bodies as
True nature.
The soul consciousness. No, the nature of the soul is consciousness.
Yeah.
That doesn't get reflected fully in the other bodies, but it gets reflected.
What do you mean by that?
Like means like, in those bodies, they're not able to fully exercise the nature of the soul to be happy, blissful, eternal, full of knowledge.
Everyone wants to be happy, even the tree. He wants to get out of that body. but he cannot. Have you been to California in Santa Cruz? Redwood,
Yeah.
thousands of years old, right?
Yeah.
And they're huge. They're huge, bigger than this room. They've been there thousands of years. There's a soul in there. Yeah. So how much suffering is that? Now we have a tree also in Krishna Balaram Mandir. How fortunate that soul is. He's seeing all the artics. He's hearing all the Bhagavatam class. He's hearing all the kirtans.
The Tamal tree.
The Tamil tree. How fortunate. See, that tree there is different than the tree here. Because everyone in the holy dham, even in animal form, after they die, they go back home, back to Godhead. This is the holy dham. Yeah. This is the blessings of Shivindavan Dham or Mayapur. Mayapur, much more. In Vrindavan, you have to be careful of offenses. And Mayapur also, you have to be careful, but Gauranitai is merciful. They nullify the offenses there. But that doesn't mean we have to be callous, we have to be whimsical, that we have to, no, we can do sinful activities. No. This is Gauranitais. Mercy. It's like here in Atlanta, ISKCON Atlanta, we have Gauranitai as the center, main deities. They're very merciful. Yeah. Prabhupada cried. He was in ecstasy. He did not finish his sentence, his address. So yes, different degrees of coverings. Yeah. When Prabhupada was in London, and it says that there was a ghost also, so he asked his disciples to do kirtan, and the ghost left. And then the next day, some trees fell down, right? And he says, "They were my friends from previous lifetime." You heard that story of Bhaktivinoda Thakur also? There was a ghost in the tree. So what he did, he recited Srimad Bhagavatam. And the tree fell down and the ghost left. This is the consciousness. They're like very covered up according to the body they acquired. Anything else?
Thank you.
Yes.
Maharaj, thank you for wonderful class. When we talk about going back to Godhead, spiritual world, should we also, think about, say, if we want to go there, what kind of solution we want to do there?
Oh, well, first of all, yeah, that's good. That's good to think, but don't worry about that. First of all, we should try to purify ourselves. In due course of time, it says that spiritual master will reveal our identity. Now, let's say our spiritual master has left physically. He'll come to our dream. Look at Madhavendra Puri. Gopal came to his dream. Yeah, many stories of great personalities who attain pure bhakti. Krishna will come into their dreams. Yeah. And that dream is not material, that is also spiritual. Yeah. So for now, we should try to purify ourselves. Chant more Hare Krishna, eat more Mahaprasad, read more Srila Prabhupada's books, associate more with the devotees, and says Grihastas should participate in festivals. Yeah, they should be involved in festivals like Janmashtami. That doesn't mean you only go on Janmashtami or Radhastami in the temple. Come as often as possible and do some service. That should be our concern right now, for now. And when we become mature in our bhakti, whether we know or not know, it doesn't matter. That is devotional service. Our main duty is to please Krishna and our spiritual master. And whatever we are in the spiritual world, it doesn't matter. Even we are a speck, one of these specks of dust. Even Uddhava, he prayed that I don't mind even creeper. And how exalted Uddhava. He's the last person who had darshan of Lord Krishna. He's like the right-hand man of Krishna in Dwarka. And he didn't care. Lord Brahma also prayed like that. Even outside the boundary, let's say this is Vrindavan and this is the boundary, he says, I don't mind even outside the immediate boundary of Vrindavan, as long as the dust being created when the Brajavasis walk will be touching my head. How exalted is that? Yeah? Well, we cannot be Mother Yasoda. That position is already taken. We cannot be Nanda Maharaj or Subal or Ojasati, Sridham. No. But even if we're the last, like Lord Brahma, even outside of the boundary of Vrindavan, we don't mind. As long as we can have a glimpse of Lord Krishna, even as a tree, it doesn't matter. Huh? So don't worry about that for now. Yes?
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other points? Any reflection? Yes.
Question.
Yes,
If
sir.
you don't mind me asking a personal question.
Personal?
In 1984,
Yeah.
what made you start out on your journey?
Well, I didn't start in 1984. I started in 1977
I missed
in the
that.
Philippines. No, in the 84 I joined. That was my calling. 7 years after. I was always interested in metaphysics, reincarnation, astral travel. You know, why? I was 14 years old and I was already asking, why am I suffering here? That was my feelings. I was looking for answers that time already to my questions. And I will read the Bible, but I cannot find. I was born as a Roman Catholic. Our house is just like, yeah, that's the temple. That's it. That's the distance. And I've read Prabhupada's books when I was 14, but I cannot figure out what's going on here. But I'm very amazed that there must be something here. Something, especially when you see the photographs, the pictures from Back to Godhead. There, you will not find any photos like, you know, like this. You will not find anywhere. They're so deep. Prabhupada says there are windows to the spiritual world. The first photo I've seen is like the cowherd boys. They were in a swing in Vrindavan. You know, they're like, you've seen that photo? They were in the swing and they're so happy. So, wow, what is this? I don't know who's Krishna. I don't know who are the cowherd boys, but they're so happy. They're in the swing. And also Mother Yasoda looking at the mouth, inside the mouth of Lord Krishna, the universal form. And the paintings, amazing. That attracts me. in Krishna consciousness. Even though I don't know what's going on. What is this? I've never seen them before. They're very alive. And then when I came to Canada at the age of 17, yeah, then I bought my Bhagavad Gita from LA. I sent, when I was 14, I asked my mother, I want to buy this book, Bhagavad Gita. Give me some money. Can I have some? And I went to the bank to get this money order or something, bank note. I sent it to address in Manila, and the Bhagavad Gita did not come. Like India. Sometimes, you send a mail, it'll reach the person 3 months after or whatever. So, but that did not stop me. Yeah. I never thought I'll be sitting down here with you and talking about Krishna. This is my Krishna karma. I just have to, okay, Krishna, whatever you want me to do, okay, go ahead. I'm yours. Traveling is not so easy. I'm going to be going to at least 25 cities in 3 months. It's not. That is my Krishna karma. I didn't have any idea that I'm going to be like this, but Guru Maharaj also gave his blessings and instructions in that way. So do it. So whatever Krishna gives you a hint, he will give you a hint what you're going to be. You just let Krishna do. Be the chariot driver of your life. Like Arjuna, Parthasarthi. Yeah. Either in times of troubles or happiness, these are all Krishna's mercy.